generally what you're gonna fill out. So if you have HUD, has 3 different asset management companies, PIMCO, Afari, and
Home
Home
Tellers.
Tellers. And they each have a different website, but they do usually populate the form for you where you don't have to fill in each detail. They're gonna pull it from the HUD Home Store and it's gonna populate the form. But let's say that didn't happen for you, or you had to write it on your own. You're gonna start out by putting your case number at the top, right here. And the way that you put in the offer, everything needs to match exactly on this 9548. You're gonna have this and several addenda. If you have a single error on this, you're gonna have to overnight another copy. And it has to be original signatures in blue ink.
Now, please do not put anyone full middle name. HUD does not recognize middle names. You can do a middle initial, but not a full middle name. And if you submit it with a middle initial, then that middle initial needs to be carried through on all your documents, okay?
So you start out with IWE, that's gonna be your purchaser's name there, exactly how you put it in the HUD Home Store. So if you had a middle initial, you need to include it there as well. And then right up under that, you're putting in the address of the property. And don't forget to include the county. Names and style, that line is going to match how you put the name in on line 1. And then however your owner wants to take title, that might be individual, sole proprietor.
Style is how they want to convey it. Title.
Your agreed upon purchase price is line 3. And you're gonna have your purchaser's earnest money right below that, sort of like in the middle left. Your earnest money depends on what your agreed upon purchase price is. So $50,000 or less is $500, not negotiable. Anything over $50,000, your earnest money is gonna be $1,000.
Not more than that, 1,000.
These are certified funds, no personal checks, so money order, cashier's check. And we'll get the details of where your contract goes and who you write your earnest money out after we finish this.
Yeah, because it depends on what asset management company you're working with, how you do the earnest money. So that's one of the things you want to look for up front when you pull the house up on the website, is what asset management company, what insurability the property, the insurability, the bidding cycle. Those are the things you want to look for up front when you bring up the property on the HUD Home Store. The bidding cycle, the insurability, the asset management company, and you want to pull up the PCR. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so line number 3, earnest money deposit shall be held by, and you might want to take notes on this. With Ofari, like she said, once you found out who the asset management company is, you're going to write your earnest money to the listing broker. So that might be Calcott Realty, Western Jetco. If it is PIMCO or Home Tellers, you're going to write your earnest money to your buyer's selected closing agent. So that's going to be your closing attorney. In all 3 cases, you're still going to need to deliver that earnest money to the listing broker within 24 hours. Doesn't matter how close your attorney is, you cannot drop it off to them. We have to receive it, record it, and upload copies of proof of having it.
Is the buyer still permitted to choose their own attorney?
Yes.
Right. But as far as still, the check is still written out to the NLB company.
Right.
And the other 2 is written out to the attorney,
attorneys.
no exceptions. And all checks are brought to the NLB office within 24 hours. Right? It's like.
All of those are typically in the directions. They're in uploaded documents, right?
Well, they'll be in that email that they send to you. And you can just call the NLB.
Yeah.
And you can call us. It doesn't matter if it's our house, you can call us.
So line 4, you're going to check the type of financing that your buyer is getting. So that property we saw with the repair escrow, out of the first, second, or third box, which one would you guys select? We have right here,
I'm
line
sorry, what
number
was the
4.
question?
The example that we had on this last worksheet,
Repair escrow.
It would be repair escrow, go through
that middle one with repair escrow. So if you've selected 203B without that repair escrow, it's going to be a rejection because they've stated that there's a repair escrow and you won't be able to close that way. You could select 203A if your buyer has decided they want to do additional repairs, they've already walked through it and they know that's the type of loan that they want to do. If you know your down payment information, you can put that there and your, the months or you could just put TBD. Said mortgage involves a repair escrow, you put that 660 there. If your buyer is going conventional or any type of other financing or paying cash, you're going to select that second box instead of purchasers applying for FHA. You're going to select purchasers paying cash or applying for conventional or other financing. Any type of closing costs that you've already asked for in the HUD Home Store, you'll put that on line 5. Line 6A and B are just the listing and selling agent's commission, and that line 7 is what HUD looks at as their net. So if you've offered full price, $80,000 for this property, or $90,000, but then your buyers ask for the full 3%, because they won't give you over 3% of the closing costs, with commission being calculated in, they're typically looking at line 7. So you may put in a higher bid to someone, but they have a better offer. Select the type of select the type of purchaser that you have, whether they're owner occupant or investor. If you did catch the property in a lottery round period, or you have a nonprofit organization, you just select the appropriate box there. Time is of the essence. Typically here, you're going to put for cash, closing no later than 30 days from seller's acceptance of contract. With FHA or other financing, you'll put 45 days, unless you're doing FHA 203K. In that case, you'll put 60 days. Closing shall be held, and that's just where you're going to put your closing attorney's information. If seller does not accept this offer, you should have already answered this question in HUD Home Store. Make it match whether or not your buyer is allowing HUD to hold their offer as a backup to another offer. And it's often a good idea for, if they're really interested in a property, go ahead and do that. Because oftentimes when agents don't fill out the paperwork properly or meet the time guidelines that HUD has given, turning in the earnest money, getting the original sales contract with no errors to them in 48 hours, or getting the corrections in on time, they'll cancel the person's bid. So they're not under contract, they'll cancel the bid, and that bid may not go back to HUD Home Store, but just be awarded to the next best bid. And that's why we're going over this 9548 in detail, because this is the document that has to be correct. Lead-based paint addendum is attached. This will always be selected if the property was built prior to 1978. And it's going to be HUD's lead-based paint addendum that they're going to generate these forms for you. Other addendum you're always going to select is attached. Don't skip over 12. A lot of times we see corrections come through where they forgot to get their purchaser to read that disclosure and initial. And then 13, you want to fill out in detail. When you first look at it, you see that X and you think that's where your purchaser signs. It's another top correction that we get. Your purchaser's names are printed and then they sign right there on that first line. You also need to include their address, their social security number or their EIN, as well as their phone number. And there you'll put the date that the purchaser signed the contract. Once HUD receives this, they're going to sign where that X is marked. Down at the bottom, your broker's business name and address, your broker's EIN or SSN if they're using that, as well as their name, your broker's phone number, and you're going to need your broker to sign this form. If you're not the broker, then your information as the agent is what goes in that smaller portion beneath that says type or print the name and phone number of the salesperson. And that's all you fill out here. Usually if you're registered with HUD Home Store, which you would have been, they're going to already have your email address. So you definitely want to check that, because if they get your contract, that's what they're going to use to contact you for corrections. And they'll give you a deadline that has to be corrected. All right. So back to earnest money. We said earnest money with Afari is written to the listing broker. All of the packages are going to be mailed to HUD within 48 hours. You need to receive it. So sometimes you might want to collect that fee from your buyer. Sometimes the listing company may go ahead and send it for you, but just know that there's an overnight fee to get it to the to HUD for their asset money.
So we would send it to you if you have that listed.
Mm-hmm. Or Afari. Now with hotels and Pimco, you can mail it yourself. Not the earnest money. You're mailing a copy of the earnest money and the package with addenda to the asset manager. They will provide you with their address and instructions.
Turkey or ham?
Ma'am?
Turkey or ham? Turkey or ham? And phone number of salesperson. Please make sure your name and email address is there, cause that is the individual that is going to get the correction, if you have a correction. Okay? Once you get accepted bid, you have 48 hours to send in all your documents. Okay, and that's gonna be your 9548 and your addendums. Okay, with Home Tellers, they're gonna send you a link to Home Tellers first, which is gonna populate the documents for you and also populate the information in the 9548. But you must verify that information to make sure everything is populated correctly. OFAR will also send out an email with the link, but that link you have to copy and paste that link in your browser. And then once you hit enter, it's gonna take you to a page that's gonna ask you for your bid submission, confirmation number, and 2 more items. Then it'll take you over to the 9548 and the addendums that you need. With PIMCO, you can actually go to hudpimco.com and get the whole buyer's packet that you need. You're gonna hit forms, and then once you hit up to the top, it's gonna say forms, and then you're gonna go to the Atlanta Hawk area for their forms, because that's our Hawk Home Ownership Center is in Atlanta for the southeastern region. Okay, and you're gonna make sure you got every form in that packet that applies. If lead-based paint does not apply, you do not send the lead-based paint addendum. Okay? So you have to send those documents, blue ink on signatures. Documents you need to be typed neatly, and send it over to the asset management company that you're working with. That will be in your instructions. Okay? Once they got all the documents correctly, then you get an executed contract. Okay, it usually take within about 7 days to get an executed contract. Then from that point, you get another email giving you, that cover page gonna give you instructions on how to go about doing your inspections with PK Management. Because you're gonna have to get permission from PK Management to turn on utilities. Like right now, you will be de-winterizing the property, so you can get your inspections. And Evelyn is gonna go over the inspection